30 years since I've been out of college that was better than the last one. What I've watched is 1.5 million people in the last 10 years leave this state, and they're people who are mobile with means, who are just fed up with the taxes, fed up with all the burdens that the state puts on us, and they vote with their feet. Well, you know, I'm in a position where I could do that. I've been fortunate, even though I started with nothing. My dad died when I was 20. I had my 4 sisters and my mom. I put myself through school, started out broke, had no backhoe, and taught myself the business. You know, I've kind of had a great story because I wouldn't change that. I like the hard work. I like getting up early. And, I was raised on a small dairy farm in Herkimer as a boy. I mean, I'd go there in the summer. You know, it's a basic 160 acres and 100 cows. You know exactly what that looks like. So, you know, I love this community. It's my home. I got 2 little kids. I didn't get married until I was late in life. I just decided it was the right thing to do. I mean, you can either fight back or you can leave. And the odd thing for me is that people say to me, why would you do this? Why would you want to go join a bunch of people that nobody likes, nobody respects, and frankly nobody understands, and we all think they're not listening to us? And you know what? That's exactly why you do it. You want to be that person that's a sane, rational, reasonable voice. Not that somebody's always going to agree with you. As a matter of fact, if everybody agrees with you all the time, you're probably doing something very wrong. And so I did what I did, and I'm grateful for the petitions, grateful for the votes. I wouldn't change a minute of it. It's a chapter in my life that cost me personally a lot of money, but we also raised more than my opponent in the district. We did well in many regards. I'm a member of a number of different economic groups. It's a hobby of mine that I've learned a lot about and understand. So the issues came easily to me. The politicking side of it was kind of tough. I'd never been at a parade before. So it's doable this time. We've been written up. We were in the Rothenberg report. It's kind of an obscure, but it's a Washington Insider paper. Mr. Rothenberg says he's interviewed thousands of candidates over 20 years. This is just last week. It was in Monday morning. Every congressman, the president reads this newsletter, said it was I was the most unusual candidate that he'd ever met. And you know what made me unusual? Strange thing. I went in and he asked me questions and I told him exactly what I thought. And apparently that's what makes you different. We were in Time magazine as one of the top 10 races in the country to watch. So it's doable. I'm in it again. You know, we're trying to raise money by the end of this month, so there's donor cards if anybody wants to help. It would be grateful. The end of the quarter comes, and Washington did not help me before. They were happy to have a candidate, you know, and that's fine. They didn't contribute a whole lot, but I didn't blame them either, and I still don't. It seemed like a crazy thing to do, but now Washington, D.C. sees this as a very doable race. People have had a chance to view my opponent over 3 years and develop their own personal attitude about that. The issues could not be more important. I think that there's a lot to talk about, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but if there's an opportunity to be a sane, rational voice, somebody that not everybody agrees with, but that represents a deliberate, thoughtful perspective that you can talk to and argue with that's not based on political convenience, that's the person I intend to be. That's the person I've always been. I never got paid. Bill and I never got paid at the end of the day for something we didn't finish. I'm a practical guy, interested in practical solutions. I tell you, I don't want to live in a welfare society. I don't want to live in an entitlement society. I want to live in what I remember was an opportunity society. And you know, we're all struggling here. Unemployment's never been worse in 70 years. We're going through one of the worst recessions in history since the Great Depression. And structural unemployment may be here for a long time. And New York State, for me, is kind of at the cutting edge of everything that I don't like to see. We have the highest taxes. We have a flight of youth. I mean, look around you. It's tough to find young people that are committed to this community. And none of us can look our kids in the face and say, come back here. The opportunity has to be here. And the better educated, the more ambitious you are, the less likely you could come back. And that's not right either, because it's a wonderful place to live. You know, I'll give you some Just simple things. I would not have voted for the stimulus package. I think it was a huge mistake. It was basically government self-stimulus. It built in more debt into our structural deficit, hired thousands of more people. Very little money went to infrastructure, about 12% of the $787 billion. The largest bill in history was intended to create jobs, and all you hear now is that the 3.5 million jobs that it was supposed to create, now they're saying it saved that many, or something like that, 1.5 million to 2. That's not what we're paying for, but every man and woman and child in this country owes someplace between $25,000 and $30,000 more because of that bill. We all owe roughly, according to the Peterson report, $184,000 individually of the trillions of forward debt. Medicare is broke, Medicaid is broke, Social Security is broke. I think that health care is one of the most important things we need to fix, and certainly everybody should have it. But if we don't control costs and we don't control quality, we haven't really done our job. And the bill that you're seeing going through Congress now does not address either of those two big items. The problem is 18% of our national budget, or gross domestic product, is health care. It's way above normal. Most countries are much less than that, someplace close to 9, 10, 11. So that increases the cost of everything we do. We do have to get it under control. Energy. My opponent voted for cap and trade in the Rules Committee many, many times. 14, I think. Voted for it once on the floor. Then when they had enough votes that they didn't need his, he voted against it. So it's, from my perspective, it's completely disingenuous. It's an important issue. It would have added about $1,700 to every man, woman, and child in upstate New York, or rather every household in upstate New York. Cap and trade is an unworkable system, and we would be, if we are the only country in the world that decides to do it, we're basically penalizing ourselves, but not controlling the outcome. There are lots of other ways and smarter ways to deal with global warming and carbon emissions if that's your issue, and I think it is for a lot of people. There's a lot to talk about. If you have any questions, I don't want to rant away here, but that's kind of who I am. I work with my hands. I've got 25 years as an operating engineer. I've got thousands of hours in heavy equipment, but I can still think. I'm healthy, I know how to work. And if people want to change Congress, you've got to start in your own home changing your congressperson. And I think that's kind of the message that I've had all along. And if you have any questions, that would be easier.